Hello Internet, my name is Minty, a Geometry Dash player with other hobbies on the side who has found a burning passion for improving at the game. I've been playing since I was extremely young and have only recently found the skill within me to push my own limits. Now, if you've spent any time realistically around the internet at all, or played Geometry Dash even a little bit, you probably know a level by the name of Bloodbath, an extreme demon created by Riot over 10 years ago in 2015. This project would be groundbreaking at its time of release, with Riot being the only player to ever try and prove that the impossible within the game to be, well, anything but that. The demon was always said to be too hard and would never be done. But one day, Bloodbath was verified and swept the internet single-handedly. Now, fast forward about 10 years to July of 2025, and I found myself sitting in my chair thinking to myself, I think it's time to push myself further than I've ever gone and achieve my childhood dreams. And with that, I present to you my journey with Bloodbath. Now, as I said, my journey with this level began in July of 2025, right after beating a level called Acropolis.
Yes! Let's fuck!
I was on the phone with a friend, as can be heard in the clip, and we both had a pretty tame reaction, but this exact same friend was here with me when I had my full completion of Bloodbath 2, so big shout outs to them. They know who they are, and many people watching this video will know who they are as well. Coming off the backboard of Acropolis, the only thing in my mind was, what's next? And then I decided I would try playing Bloodbath for the first time ever. I figured, if I can do an insane demon, what's to stop me from beating this? So, I began playing. And by this point, I didn't even have Mega Hack, so I wouldn't have any start positions, I wouldn't have any no-clip, I wouldn't have anything to be helping me out. But I dove straight in anyways, because I'm not very smart. Progress was very slow, very stagnant. I was barely learning parts over multiple days of practicing them, but I kept playing anyways, and so I was having a lot of fun. However, I started to speak to my friends about my progress and about all the attempts I had been making and the rate I was going at, and all of us collectively began to question if I'd even beat this within this year. But suddenly, on July 15th, this happened, with only having a previous best of 30% before it. Oh my! 44% on Bloodbath. How could this be? I just flew straight through Evasium and kept going right to crack. If I could keep this up within just a week of playing the level, I could probably beat this within a month. However, not all good things can last like that. This began a trend of seriously unfortunate and constant fails, ranging from 25% to 33% most of the time, give or take. This was known as Michigan's part, also infamously known for being the hardest part in all of Bloodbath. Now, at this time, I was playing on a mouse, which isn't quite what it seems in the clips, but I don't have footage from the time, so I had to use newer ones, and some of the upcoming new bests don't have any footage as well, so apologies in advance. However, this was seriously discouraging me. This was making me seriously rethink my choices of jumping to this level. And eventually, around the end of July, I dropped the level. For a while, I just didn't want to play the game all that much, as I drifted to playing other things like Splatoon, practicing for a massive in-person event I had coming up. At some point in mid-August, I had started looking into the game again, playing an extreme demon called Acu. Known for being a perfect extreme for anyone who wants to start pushing the limits, I did somewhat care for it, but it was generally still in the back burner. Right up until I hit a horrible death of 98% on the level.
98!
No. Dude. A theme that would hopefully never be seen again. With this, I yet again gave up on the game for about a week, until eventually, on August 24th, I beat Acu. This brought the rush of joy for the game right back into me, and I found it in me quickly to start playing Bloodbath again. I warmed myself back up for a couple of days before quickly hitting a brand new best of 48%. This was mind-blowing to me, because before I had been playing LoL for so long, and it had been such a struggle to even get 44, yet I'd come back for just like a day or so and managed to get 48? However, that wasn't even all. That same day, I managed to get 2 more new bests, being 52 and finally 61%. However, this motivation burst would not get to last very long, as I still had my huge in-person event coming up, and with that, Bloodbath ended up laying dormant again, while I went to go focus on playing Splatoon instead. Keeping GD in the background though, while I worked on some other extremes instead, still finding the game fun. Flash forward to late September, Riptide came and went, but once it was over, I found myself wanting to play more than ever. I hopped on it again and very quickly found myself getting a brand new best of 74% on stream. Sadly, a lot of these streams have disappeared by now. Just 26% away from completing one of the most popular extremes of all time. And then next stream came and I found myself getting another new best of 79%. But after that, things just felt wrong again. I couldn't play how I used to, I was getting frustrated, and honestly I just didn't want to play anymore. So I went ahead and got back on Splatoon. I wound up beating Cataclysm at some point, another hugely popular demon within just a few days, but something in me just needed that spark to start playing Bloodbath again. I came hurtling back at the level on October 17th with the encouragement of my friends by my side, and scored my record run of 90%, showing the world what I was made of and finding myself closer than ever to completing my childhood dream. But that was not all. That exact same stream, I hit a brand new best percent of 92
No!
as well. While there would be no more new best that stream, I continued straight away on stream number 4. Continuing my practice and working as hard as I could. Sadly, this happened in that stream, however. History had repeated itself, despite my best efforts. I got 98% on Bloodbath. I was shattered by this, in shock. The one thing I tried to prevent happened. After this happened, no more good runs were to come from that stream. My motivation just seemed to be completely lost. And I couldn't find it in me to push any harder, so after another hour or so of streaming, I gave up. This weighed heavy on my mind for the entire rest of the day, and truly I didn't get much else done that day. And figured I just needed some sleep and would come back to the level tomorrow with a fresh and new mind. Which is exactly what I did. I started up stream, and little did I know that day, this would be the final time I started a Bloodbath stream ever again. Everything started off as normal, with me practicing every individual part to make sure I have it down, and even scoring a nice little run of 43 to 100%, a run that I had already done before, but it was nice nevertheless. However, when I started playing from zero, things seemed to be going really well, almost a little too well. I kept getting runs to Etzer, which is the range of 70 to 80%. Most of them died within that range though, so that sucks, but not too bad. But a ways into the stream, this ended up happening. Just roll the clip. The true worst death that could have ever happened on this level came to be, as all I could do was stare at my screen in horror. Funnily enough, almost feeling like I recreated a clip from Nepesta, a much more popular GD YouTuber, as my mom came to talk to me in my room at around 90%, and then I proceeded to die to the last jump after casually talking to her, similarly to how Nepesta did in his clip on Bloodlust, but I don't think mine will ever blow up that way. But anywho, this just had me really confused at this point. I genuinely thought it could not get any worse than 98, but somehow it did. And that wasn't even all. I didn't clip it, but 30 or so minutes later, I died to the very end again. This time at 97%. I was beyond frustrated at this point, and the stream would continue to go on for 2 or so more hours before I was genuinely just starting to give up hope for the day. Me and my friend were talking about the fact that we wanted to do something soon, and I would be stopping the stream for us to be able to do that. But I decided I'd play for another like 10 minutes or so, and apparently this gave me exactly what I needed to close it out. And on November 2nd, I exited the pre-jump of Bloodbath for the final time. Apologies for the poor splicing on the clip, there was a little bit of corruption with recording, but I now present to you my winning run of Bloodbath. Bro.
Okay, don't worry.
Finally over. And as you can tell by my incessant yelling and my lack of ability for words other than yes, this took a lot of weight off my shoulders and was easily my biggest accomplishment yet. Years of playing this game and looking at this monster of a level had finally come to a close as I fell onto the other side of the triple spike. Tears forming in my inner child's eyes as the realization hits me that I am now a Bloodbath victor. And I couldn't have done it without the people who supported me along the way, so genuinely thank you to everyone that did. Along with another thank you to everybody who's here watching, and for being patient with me on getting this out. I know it was super delayed and shouldn't have been nearly this long of a wait, and I promise it won't be as long of a wait for the next video, but there was a huge move in my life for this that made me shift a lot of stuff around. But people have still been looking forward to it, and that really means the world to me. And with that, I think it's about time I get out of here. See you all soon. Goodbye, and stay chill.